Well, it's a dismal December day outside. It's actually daytime, believe it or not, but you can barely tell because it's so dark, foggy, rainy, horrendous really. So I'm sat inside playing a few more Mastertronic games, and the next one I'm going to look at is called P.O.D or P.O.D or Proof of Destruction, whatever you want to call it. We're going to check that out right now. Here's the cover artwork of P.O.D or Proof of Destruction, to give it its full title. And it's quite a nice cover, nice sort of cartoony style artwork, as we've seen on a lot of these Mastertronic games from this era. And we've got a pod, I guess, or a pod-like character shooting some pod-like enemies on some form of a lattice or grid. And it's a second wave Mastertronic packaging. Spine has got the title on, as you'd expect. And on the back we've got a very small intro to the game. P.O.D has no pretentious storyline and no planets to be saved. It is quite simply the most exciting and addictive shoot 'em up ever. Each level is superbly balanced for playability and challenging action. It may be too much for you. Well, that's nice. No pretentious storyline is a good thing in my book. And you can see there it's written by Sean Southern, as it says there, or Sean Southern as his name actually is spelt. So this is a Mr. Chip offering. Inside we've got some screenshots. That's title screen or loading screen, not sure exactly which. And various other screenshots of the game, which looks to be somewhat psychedelic in the Jeff Minter Grid Runner style, perhaps. And inside, mostly blank except for some instructions, basic instructions about the game and controls, and a bit of strategy which says there is none. Keep moving and keep firing. Blowing up at aliens attracts fire in response and they will hunt you across the grid. And there's some load instructions, and that's about it. Very straightforward stuff, which I approve of. So here is that loading screen in all its glory, and as you can see in the top left hand corner it says P.O.D or P.O.D, however you want to pronounce it, by Sean Southern, spelt correctly. And we've got the grid lattice type thing again, and some kind of device shooting something and it's exploding. And at the bottom it says Mastertronic and copyright 1986, Mr. Chip Software. And also there's the designer of the loading screen, Andy, in the bottom right hand corner there mentioned. And that's about it. Here's the title screen of P.O.D then, as I'm going to call it from this point onwards. And as you can see, you've got a high score table with some very easily achievable high scores there, as they're all 0. And it's also got a couple of options, 1 or 2, which is 1 or 2 player. And for some reason you have to press Control to start, and that's pretty much it. Quite understated for a Sean Southern title screen. Usually he has one of those scrolling messages across it, but chose not to do so on this one. So let's get started with the game. And the first thing you can see is it's quite a psychedelic experience. The first level is very much like Centipede. You've got the sort of Centipede kind of character coming down the screen, and you can move around on this grid, so it's not free movement, you have to move along the grid lines. As you can see, when you shoot anything, the bits of the grid break, so make it more difficult to move around. That's the end of the first level. It's quite frenetic stuff. The interesting concept about these levels is that you actually, as I'm going to try and demonstrate here a bit, you don't need to shoot anything. Oh, you do need to avoid being shot though. Each level just lasts as long as the timer, which is at the top of the screen, takes to run down. So I can just sit here. I mean, there's obviously no benefit to this because I'm not getting any points, and also getting shot a lot. Not a very good example. But you can just sit here until the time runs down and not do anything. and the level completes and you move on to the next one. So that's quite a unique way of playing the game. Okay, but I'm not going to do that in this one. So the first two levels are kind of like Centipede. Then you get this one where you've got these things moving up and down around the grid, which you've got to shoot, obviously. And they're kind of chasing you around by moving along the grid lines. The backgrounds really do make my eyes hurt, I must say. Oh, this looks dangerous. Yeah, they're all homing in on me there. Oh, just as the time ran out as well. So it's quite a full-on experience, and this is a bonus level which you just shoot as many things as you can. They don't fire back, although they can still hit you. Most levels there doesn't seem to be a lot of benefit from moving up and down the grid. This level is the furthest I've got so far, this green one. It's really hard. But you do seem to get a fresh replenishment of lives on each stage as well, because my lives have gone back up to 4. So we're doing quite well here at the moment. Time's ticking away. I think I've found a kind of a strategy here. Oh, nearly there. Should survive this now at least. Unless I mess it up. Oh no, am I not? Yeah, there we go. So that's that level completed. And on we go to the next one. And again, extra life at the start of each level by the looks of it. And it's just the same concept speeded up. There's lots of stuff going on. As I say, quite an assault on the senses. Graphics are quite decent, you know, nothing spectacular. These little sprites which are very reminiscent of a Jeff Minter game, as is the psychedelic background. So there's quite some nice graphical effects going on in the background, but the overall game sprites are pretty straightforward. And sound-wise, the sound effects are your usual sort of bleepy shots and explosions, and there's a nice tune in the background as well. Ooh, this looks messy. I imagine there's a strategy for each level, but I'm just finding moving left and right a lot and shooting at the bottom of the screen seems to work for the most part. So this is actually the first I've got in the game, so this is all new experience for me now. There's not a lot else to say about it. It's an uncomplicated game, as the back cover said. It's unpretentious, it's just a fun sort of blasting shoot 'em up type game. Very arcade style, you know, high scores to aim for, and lots of frenetic action. As I say, most distinguishable thing about it is the big assault on the senses, really. And on to another bonus round now. Oh my word. Oh, and there goes a life. Or is that the end of the level? No. So even though it's a bonus level, you can still die, which is a bit silly. And on we go with the next level, and it's much of the same again. So not much more to say really. Is it worth $1.99? Yeah, I'd definitely say so. I'm a big fan of shoot 'em ups anyway. It's kind of addictive and has that sort of one more go factor, and also, as I say, very polished production. You know, nice smooth gameplay, challenging. High scores to aim for. As I said, something I've already said several times, the assault on the senses just adds a whole new sort of element to the gameplay. Quite a unique style of game in that you know you can play a level as for survival rather than actually point scoring as well, which is quite interesting. So yeah, all in all, not the best game in the world, certainly not the worst. Just a good solid game and well worth a $1.99 asking price, I think. So no more talking really, just going to carry on playing until I get wiped out, which shouldn't take too much longer, I imagine. And that's game over. And you get shown the title screen again, sorry, the loading screen. and then you get to put your name in the high score table, which I got just over 200,000, which I'm pretty pleased with considering I was talking all the way through it, and the best I've done previously was about 60,000. So there is just one other thing I want to show, which is if you choose a 2-player game, I can't play as both players, but let's start the game anyway. And as you can see, both players play simultaneously. That's me moving left and right, and the other players sat there. But it seems like it's a cooperative effort because there's only one score. I'm just going to switch over the joystick into the other port just to test that out. Yeah, so I'm now controlling player 2, and yeah, basically both players are combined, working together to get the one score, and you're sharing lives and everything. So that's quite a unique gameplay thing as well. I've not seen that on many games before. So I'm just wondering what happens when you get to the high score table actually. So let's just kill myself off pretty quickly and see. So I've just killed myself off as quickly as I could. And yeah, I guess you get a combined high score table as well. So that's quite a novel idea. Definitely something worth checking out if you've got someone to play the game with. See how far you can get as a team effort rather than just a single player. So yeah, another reason to check it out really.